Well, government now warning that load shedding will remain with us until at least 2024. The Department of Mineral Resources and Energy's Integrated Resource Plan, its plan for the future, was released on Friday. It suggests that, in fact, we may use less renewable energy than was planned for in the previous document. It also wants South Africa to build a lot more gas generation capacity. At this stage, and there are arguments about this, there's no real reliable supply of gas that is currently usable. Mthunzi Luthuli is an engineer and energy expert. He joins us now. Mthunzi, good afternoon to you and thank you for your time. Firstly, this integrated resource plan seems to make some big changes from the previous plans. It suggests we should use less wind and solar power than the old plan. Does that surprise you?
It is surprising, but it's a pleasant surprise because many of us have been saying that solar and wind are not the best way actually of providing energy security for South Africa. Neither is it the cheapest option.
So what would be the best and cheapest?
So it's a surprise because we didn't think that government would move that way, but it's a welcome surprise.
Okay. This is a very contested space, as I think you know. In your view, what would be the best, the most reliable and the cheapest option? And of course, at the same time, there's a huge argument about the role of coal.
Yes. So, Stephen, the quickest way of actually getting ourselves out of the load shedding mess that we're in right now, okay, is to fix the Eskom fleet. Okay, it would be the quickest, and secondly, it would be the cheapest because you already have the power stations, you already have the units. All that needs to be done is for them to be fixed properly. We'll put a program in place that will ensure that the whole thing is attended to properly. Take the units out for 3, 4, 6 months. And fix them properly, each one of them, and then bring them back online. You don't have to build long transmission lines. You don't have to have new investments and all of that stuff. So it is actually. But in order to be able to do that, you need some buffer, and that's why an interim solution like the Power Partnership solution. Okay? Of course, without the corruption and everything else, and for a shorter period of time, something like 5 years, it is good because what that will do, it will give you, let's say, 1.2 gigawatts of power that you need. That then allows you to take some of these units offline and fix them properly. So that is actually the best solution in the short to medium term. And I'm glad that the IRP does recognize that.
I mean, in the end, it's really about making sure that if Medupi and Kusile produced the electricity that they were supposed to produce, the 2 big new power stations, we wouldn't be in this mess.
Yes, we definitely wouldn't be in this mess, together with proper maintenance of the existing fleet from Eskom.
Sure.
That's certainly the case.
The issue around gas, and there's a huge argument around gas. Well, look, there are arguments around all sorts of electricity at the moment, but gas is a particularly interesting issue because government in the IRP, as I understand it, appears to be really supporting a sort of gas industry. Now, gas is very interesting because it is a fossil fuel. We're supposed to be moving away from those, but it's a fossil fuel that produces a lot less pollution, a lot less carbon than any of the other fossil fuels. It's also reliable. You can switch it on and off. It's in energy terms, it's dispatchable. Do you believe we need a lot more gas in the future?
Stephen, I think we do need gas. Particularly for the peaking stations and perhaps mid-merit stations. Okay, gas is ideally suited for peaking because you can start the plants up during the morning peak or just before the morning peak and just before the evening peak. So they're ideally suited for that, and they're cheaper than diesel. So they are and they should be part of the long-term solution to the problems that we have. The only negative side to gas is that we don't have gas in South Africa on our shores. So that brings concerns of energy security. What if you can't secure the gas? The second problem, of course, is that the prices of gas are unpredictable. They can move up and down, and often they can be very expensive. Those are the only downsides to it. But looking at everything in totality, we definitely do need gas.
Let me make the renewable argument to you for a moment to let you respond to it. Because the argument would probably go something along these lines. The integrated resource plan of several years ago, the one before the one that was released on Friday, had a greater amount of electricity that it thought or should come from gas and from wind and solar. And in fact, what we've seen over the last sort of 2 years, 18 months, is that the private sector, so individuals and companies, have added 4,000 megawatts of solar generation capacity. Now, there are problems with that. It's not always on. The sun doesn't shine all through the day, but still, 4,000 megawatts is quite a lot of generation capacity. And the argument would go that, in fact, the IRP is going in the wrong direction by reducing the amount of power that could come from renewables. And you'll know the arguments. People will talk to South Australia, they'll look at other examples and say, actually, you could use a lot more renewable power. You seem to disagree with that. Why?
I definitely do disagree. You see, Stephen, looking at just capacity in terms of megawatts or gigawatts it doesn't tell you the full picture. So if you have, let's call it 5,000 megawatts of your conventional power plants, which you can operate 24/7, you get 5,000 megawatts worth of energy. Okay. With renewables, which are between 25 and 32% in terms of the capacity factor. In other words, they only generate electricity 25 to 30% of the time. That means the megawatt hours that you get from that plant, and the energy is actually the megawatt hours, okay, is a lot less. So you don't get 5,000 megawatts worth of energy out of a 5,000 megawatt plant. You only get about 1,000 megawatts to about 1,500 megawatts worth of energy. See, so this is the problem with renewables, and that is a major factor that works against renewable. In fact, we argue that it's a waste. If you build 5,000 megawatts of capacity, but you're only getting about 1,000 to 1,500 megawatts worth of energy, it's a waste. And South Africa doesn't have money to waste.
Mthunzi Luthuli, thank you. Energy expert and engineer. Really do appreciate the time. Lots of different views, of course, on the integrated resource plan.